Welcome to Odd Spots, the show that explores the eccentric and intriguing things that people do. Today's show is dedicated to tough guys. They may be big on bravado, but just how big is their IQ? Men with cast iron stomachs. Big boys playing with little boys' toys. And men who are just plain strong. It's all coming up on Odd Spots. The coal industry in the north of England may have fallen into decline over the last 30 years, but some traditions remain, and one of them is carrying coal. Out of all the traditions, I'd have thought the one involving lifting great heaving bags of coal would have been the first to go. Here in Yorkshire, the coal carrying competition is in its 36th year. And wouldn't you know it, it came about after two drinkers in the pub challenged each other to a race. Now, don't think you're leaving that untidy bag of coal there. Take it straight back to where you found it. The men have to carry a 50-kilogram bag of coal, and for the women, a dainty little 20-kilo bag. Competitors struggle with the load for almost a mile. Winner John Hunter said, "I may not be perfect, but at least I can lift heavy things." John was awarded with a nice shiny trophy and a year's free chiropractic care. There seems to be no getting away from manly traditions. Here's another ancient practice still played out in the English countryside. The ritual of the Haxley Hood game is based on the story of Lady Morgan losing her hood in a field of farm workers in the 13th century. She enjoyed watching them fight over it so much, she asked for a reenactment every year.
It's time for the game to begin, and it's time for you all to join in.
It's rough and tough, and many of the competitors opt out of the free-for-all. Injuries happen, but that doesn't bother the locals. Hey, what's a missing ear between friends? This scene looks familiar. Ah yes, English soccer fans. And what a surprise, those men controlling the scrum gradually move it toward their favourite pub. How convenient. The landlord receives the rope and leather hood as a present from his loyal customers. Then he has to serve all the participants with a complimentary pint of beer for the honour. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Or, if it gets too tough, the tough pretend they've sprained an ankle and go home. This is the bizarre Tough Guy Challenge in the English Midlands. This extreme obstacle course involves pain, fatigue, physical and mental torture, all terms most men are unfamiliar with. Tough guys plunge down an embankment, run 4-mile cross-country and enter the Murder Mile assault course. Why do men choose to spend their weekend doing this? Yet moan and whine if you ask them to take the garbage out. Well, look what the cat dragged in. For the last man standing, this was about more than physical strength. A very serious reason was behind his dedication to completing the course. His mate double-dared him. So, you want to get into sport but not sure what to choose. Gymnastics won't do, ice skating is for girls, and you don't like the skimpy outfits in beach volleyball. Here's your answer, a sport that's tough, rough and sure to prove you're a man. This is Tasmania, Australia, and down under they breed them strong. And these are minors. Funny, they all look over 18 to me. Sport to these guys doesn't involve donning cricket whites and hitting a little ball around. These men like nothing more than a friendly competition of drilling and shoveling. It's the Coal Mining Championships, and these hard-working guys are always straight to the point, calling a spade a very big shovel. Come on, I bet you don't go that fast at work, you're just showing off for the girls. All aspects of mining are covered in these championships, from drilling to shoveling, and there's nothing too complicated about it, you just have to dig. And here comes the winner, Brian McArdle. He's got a beer and a shiny new shovel for his efforts. Now what tough guy wouldn't be pleased with that? Welcome to Lithuania, home of the man with the strongest beard. Yes, if it isn't enough to show off your muscles, you might like to impress family and friends by lifting things with your facial hair. Antonis Contremus had a medical check before this bizarre world record attempt, and doctors confirmed what we were all thinking. He's mad. I know men are desperate for a close shave, but this is ridiculous. That's the problem with beards. All sorts of things get trapped in them without you knowing. Oh, how long's that woman been stuck in me beard? An amazing 62 kilos lifted by the hair of his chinny chin chin. Asked after the lift why he had a long face, Antonis said, "You would too if you'd had a woman hanging off your chin." That's one weird beard. And some of the beard hair was handed out to the crowd as souvenirs. Now that's got to be better than a t-shirt. Tough guy whiskers indeed. What do you think? A trim and a blow wave? A new sport is taking Russia by storm. Its name is rugball, and the rules are simple. Get the ball in the basket any way you can. It's a cross between basketball and wrestling, and officials are hoping to make it a truly international sport. In rugball, you don't have to worry about bouncing the ball, making 3 steps or 30-second limits. In fact, the only rules are no rough tackling from behind and no kicking an opponent in the face. Now where's the fun in that? So, if you have no respect for authority, can't follow rules and like violence, your local rugball club wants to sign you up. With no fouls or penalties for rough play, rugball could be named thugball. Yes, there's nothing more masculine than an all-in-one lycra bodysuit. Be afraid, this could be coming to a beach near you.
You don't
It may not be the most glamorous of sports, but the game of conkers attracted 5,000 enthusiasts to the World Championships in Ashton, England. Here's how it works. Take a horse chestnut, make a hole through its centre and thread a bootlace through. Find an opponent and whip your conker about until one of them is broken off the string, or until someone loses an eye. What a bizarre sport. I think if you play conkers, you have to be bonkers. Come on, you knew there was no way we'd get through this story without saying bonkers and conkers in the same sentence. Apparently, the game of conkers came about 36 years ago, when a fishing trip was cancelled. What? People were so angry they couldn't go fishing, they took to each other with conkers on strings? And it was this tough guy, Mark Tracy, who was crowned World Conker Champion. Mark was thrilled with the win, but wanted to play down his new title, asking friends to simply call him King Conker. For tough guys, nothing is too extreme. So let's take a look at these hardy souls, who've turned up at a frozen lake in Lithuania to try skiing underwater. Yes, skiing the normal way on the snow just wasn't crazy enough. So someone came up with the idea of cutting a hole in the ice and skiing below the water. And that's 15 degrees below and falling. Some people will do anything to wake themselves up in the morning. Now, whose bright idea was it to bring a Santa hat down here with me? If organisers had been expecting a huge crowd to turn up for this event, they need to fire their marketing department. Just 2 brave competitors took part in the first ever underwater skiing race. A couple of notes from the suggestion box for next year's underwater skiing competition. Maybe hold it in Hawaii, and hey, why don't we do it in summer? You've heard of the running of the bulls? Well, get ready for the running of the beds. Hundreds of competitors and spectators gathered in the Yorkshire town of Knaresborough for the 36th running of the bed race. A team consists of 6 members of the same sex to push the bed and 1 person of the opposite sex on the bed as a passenger. Have you ever had that dream when you're in your pyjamas out in public, whizzing down the street in your bed? And after all that grueling road work, there was one final obstacle, the River Nid. Talk about wetting the bed. How embarrassing. People who volunteered to be on the bed said it was well worth the grueling training period. Long lies, afternoon naps and going to bed early certainly paid off. And for the bed runners, I bet they could sleep for a week. Well, Peter Piper would have been in his element. We're at Carnegie Deli in New York for America's annual pickle eating competition.
today is an all-day buffet. When it comes to eating pickles, yo, I don't play. But y'all eat in the week, I eat in mere minutes.
These tough guys laugh in the face of obesity, scoff at high blood pressure, and couldn't care less about cholesterol. Competitive eating is said to be the world's fastest growing sport, according to the World Federation of Competitive Eating. On your marks, get set, feed your faces. Did you want pickles with your pickles? Officials said no records were broken on the day, but plenty of zippers were. And if chewing quickly doesn't help, maybe using them as drumsticks will. Ed Cookie Jarvis accepted the first place trophy after eating 28 pickles and 2 of the other competitors. A Malaysian man has climbed into a cage with thousands of scorpions and intends to spend 3 weeks with them. Ali Khan Samsudin usually spends his time taming venomous snakes. Why you would want to tame venomous snake, I'm not sure. I suppose it would sit quietly after it bit you. Known in Malaysia as the Snake King, Ali will spend his time with 5,000 scorpions, living in a 9-metre square glass cubicle in Kuala Lumpur's City Square Centre. Ali said working with snakes was one thing, but scorpions are difficult to handle and it takes very little provocation for them to sting. You only have to look at a scorpion the wrong way and it'll get in a bad mood. So I wonder how they'll feel about being picked up and thrown about. Good luck, Ali. Relax, take it easy, and sleep with one eye open at all times. At this crocodile farm in China, tough guy workers like to get up close and personal with their charges, and crowds are flocking to the zoo to catch a glimpse of the people who answered a job vacancy that said only people with life insurance need apply. Yes, it's all in a day's work, really, catching and wrestling crocodiles. And if it looks like something you'd like to try, there's always room on the team. As the staff gets smaller, the crocodiles get bigger. Hey Mum, watch me stick my head in a crocodile's mouth. Crocodiles piggyback style, now that's cute. South African Navy diver Paul Willey entered a tank full of Nile crocodiles to set a croc-sitting world record. Paul sat with the 8 crocs for 212 hours in a specially prepared aquarium tank. I've done a lot of babysitting, but never any croc-sitting. And looking at these well-behaved crocodiles, I think they look easier to look after than a 2-year-old. Paul was allowed out of the water for 6 hours in every 24. And he had a medical team on standby, including a helicopter to fly him to hospital should he have been attacked. Now that's confidence for you. Airport delays driving you mad? Take matters into your own hands and pull the plane around to the boarding gate yourself. Welcome to Plane Tug of War. 35 teams made up mostly of airline workers raced the clock to tug a Boeing 727 12 feet, raise $40,000 in charity and develop hernias. The plane weighs in at 145,000 pounds. And if you ever wondered how they started a jumbo jet with a flat battery, the old pull start works every time. Rivalries abound on the tarmac, with all the teams fiercely competitive, but it's all good fun until the pilot decides he doesn't want to play anymore and takes his plane home. Hooray, we're all getting window seats! The sport of plane tug-of-war is becoming more popular. It's just that getting your hands on a 727 for practice night can be tricky. The World Arm Wrestling Championships were held recently in New York. Billed as the Battle of the Biceps, 75 men and women from 11 countries turned on the muscle power. Arm wrestling may not be the most ladylike of sports, but these girls certainly have the strength to twist any man's arm. No, we said arm wrestling, not snake wrestling. According to competitors, a good arm wrestle comes down to strength and determination. And if your opponent has brittle bones, all the better. But I think arm wrestling could benefit with a few ideas from the World Wrestling Federation. Add some masks, a bit of lycra, and competitors writhing around the ground pretending to be in pain, and we'd have a real spectator sport. The showdown was between arm wrestling legend Cleve Dean, a 450-pound pig farmer, and Canadian Gary Goodridge. The Canadian was too good, winning hands down. Well, that's it for this episode of Odd Spots from England, where I'm sure the coal-carrying craze will really take off. To Aussie miners who love work so much, they do it as a hobby. An interesting new way to pick up girls. Basketball for basket cases. And skiing literally turned on its head. We don't know why they do it, but we're glad they do, because we've put them all together and made a TV show. See you next time, here on Odd Spots.